Because we're joined now by a very special guest, Virginia Senator Tim Kaine, who is a member of the Armed Services and Foreign Relations Committees. He joins us now. Senator, I'm very grateful to have you on the program today. It's nice to see you.
Glad to, Kasie. You bet.
Let's start with the news that we've covered for the first half of the show, which is the hostage deal, the evolving news out of Israel and Gaza. And I know a number of your colleagues have started to express their concerns behind the scenes about the way in which the war has been conducted, the way Israel is conducting the war. And there has been some conversations about whether or not future aid to Israel should be conditioned on perhaps them following the laws of war, for example. And that's very rare because this aid to Israel has typically not been conditioned. Do you think that it should be?
You know, what we're grappling with, Kasie, is we want to make sure Israel has the ability to defend itself against Hamas, but this shouldn't be a war against Gazans or Palestinians. And so we're trying to look at aid to Israel in a way that meets that balance, where Israel can defend itself against Hamas, but we care a lot about the delivery of humanitarian aid to civilians. We care about minimizing civilian suffering. And so we're trying to find a balance in the package on this. And look, we're having similar discussions about Ukraine aid. You've got to find balanced ways to do it. So those discussions are ongoing, but I feel confident we're going to get to a robust aid package that will be very focused on defending Israel from Hamas.
Do you think the Senate package is going to have conditions on the aid to Israel?
You know, the conditions language, I think, is a little bit of a red herring. We don't do budget bills and just do blank checks. If I was doing a budget bill for the Department of Education, it would clarify how the money was to be used. And so I think you will see an aid package for Israel that will be robust, but that will try to accomplish numerous goals: defend against Hamas, provide humanitarian aid, and minimize civilian suffering.
Yeah. Are you confident that Israel has followed the laws of war in their conducting of this war?
I will say this. I am concerned about inadequate delivery of humanitarian aid into southern Gaza. I'm very concerned about that, and I've raised that in letters to the president and others. There is a border crossing into southern Israel, Kerem Shalom, that I think needs to be open if there's going to be significant food and water into southern Israel, into southern Gaza. I think that needs to happen. So we are pushing, and I know the president is too, to reduce violence against Palestinians on the West Bank, increase humanitarian aid to civilians, and then do what we can do to just minimize suffering of people. Remember, people who live in Gaza are under the thumb of Hamas. They're not the same as Hamas, and we need to make sure that we're protecting civilians to the best degree we can.
Right. Senator, I want to bring the conversation home because I know you have been, I've seen you late at night on the Senate floor as a critic of your colleague, Senator Tuberville, around this issue of him holding up military nominations. I want to show you a little bit of what Senator Tuberville had to say in an interview he did last night, and then I'd like to get your reaction. Watch.
Okay.
We've had hundreds and hundreds of terrorists come across the border. And you know what? We could care less. Not we, the Biden administration. Eric, it is going to get us in so much trouble. We're going to have a 9/11 attack every few weeks if we don't watch it. It is out of control.
Tuberville also said in that interview that we have the weakest military that we've had. What do you have to say to Senator Tuberville?
You know, he's basically pleading guilty to the sin that he is charging others with. I mean, he is hurting our military. Don't listen to Tommy Tuberville and don't listen to Tim Kaine. Listen to the American Legion. The American Legion, millions strong, have stepped up and said that Tommy Tuberville's blockade on military nominations is hurting this country, and we need to stop it. And I am convinced, Kasie, that one way or the other, we will get these military nominations through before the end of the year. But it's been an absolutely shameful display by Senator Tuberville.
Senator, let me ask you also about politics generally and the unfolding presidential race, because we are just a couple, 7 weeks out from the Iowa caucus on the Republican side.
Wow.
I know it's no longer too early, if you can believe that.
Yeah. Right.
Do you have any concerns about President Biden's ability to run this campaign and then serve a second term?
No. In fact, I'm going to be a ticket mate of Joe Biden's because I'm running in Virginia in 2024, and I am planning on running a very vigorous campaign promoting what the Biden administration has done with historic infrastructure bill and other accomplishments, manufacturing, veterans, gun safety, and I'm going to be promoting it, and I'm expecting Joe Biden to continue the trend of winning electoral votes in Virginia that would have been unthinkable when I got into politics, but now it's happened the last 4 presidential elections, and I think it's going to happen again in 2024.
Do you think it's possible he could lose to Donald Trump?
Look, is it possible? Yes, it's possible. There's no reason to be complacent in a nation that is divided like the U.S. is. We just had a really successful election night in Virginia, Kasie, but what success meant is we have a 2-vote majority in our House and a 2-vote majority in our Senate. In other words, narrow majorities. So you can't take anything for granted. I know that's the way the Biden campaign will view this race, and that's the way I view it too.
All right. Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you'll come back, sir.
I will. Glad to be with you, Kasie.
Wonderful. Thank you.